on the on a new drawing here. This is pretty much what you want to wind up with here. It's pretty basic, pretty simple, but stick with me here and we'll get you through. Alright, so what you want to do is go ahead and open up this file. It's the insert block that you guys have been using. It's the 280 by 216 file. Go ahead and open that bad boy up. Just click on through, continue, yes, and just, you know, orient it so you can see it, and just zoom in so we know what we're doing here. Okay, now I'm going to differ a little bit from the tutorial just because of, you know, speed and just my methodology. So just make sure you you know, it doesn't confuse you at all. So again, let's go up here to draft settings, your favorite friend, and just go ahead and clear all, and we're just going to select things that we know we want, like, you know, insertion, or I'm sorry, intersection, endpoint, midpoint, center, tangent maybe. The problem with selecting too many of these is you get a little bit confused as to which ones you know, that you're keen off on. So let's go ahead and draw some circles here. Circle. Okay, and you can toggle between the snap by just simply hitting F8, and you can see here, maybe I'll zoom in, see how it's just snapping to different points here. I'm sorry, not F8, F9, okay? And so the tutorial wants you to, you know, choose a real specific position. I don't really care what you choose. Doesn't matter to me. So, you know, for instance, like this, you know, this, I'm just going to choose an arbitrary point, like right here, that looks good enough for me, and I'm going to start, you know, cranking this out. So I'm going to go from the small circles, you know, in, so, you know, 5, and I'm going to toggle off this F9 now. Now that, you know, once I've had it, you know, once I have it set, I'm going to toggle it off so you don't have to mess around with that. Go ahead and hit circle, and that little green thing here is going to say I want to create a new circle that's centered at the center of this circle. Okay, so that's all I'm specifying, and so you can check it by just you know, hovering over and seeing kind of where you are. And this one needs to be radius of 10, so just hit 10. There we go. Circle again. I want to do the center. Come out here, check it. Radius of 20. Good to go. Okay. Now what we're going to start doing is really creating some reference lines here. So, you know, again, I'm going to start from the center here. So you got to tell it, hey, I want to key off on that center. And how you tell it that you want to key off on the center of this particular circle is just kind of hover over that circle, drag it down nice and calmly till a little green thing appears, specifying that it is the in fact the center. Okay, now this is a reference line, so I don't care how big it is. I just want to make sure that it's that the angle is 0. Okay, and then same with this one. I want to extend this reference line out to here. You know, at just sort of an arbitrary point. I don't care. I don't care how far it is. So 29, whatever, is good with me. Do another line here, and it's going to key off on the endpoint of the line that we just created, and that's okay because that endpoint was created at the center of the circle, so we know it's all good. So there we go. Sort of arbitrary. I don't really care. Just want to make sure that they're all lined up. Perfect. Alright, so let's go ahead and just copy these 3 circles. These 3 circles. Hit enter. Now, where are we going to copy them to? Oh, you know what? Let's back up here because we also need to nah, that's okay. Well, sorry, I'm just debating if I want to copy that thing or not. Yeah. Let's go ahead and copy that. So copy, come down here and just select everything. With the exception of that one. We don't want to copy that one. Hit enter. Where do you want to copy it from? Copy it from this little endpoint here. Okay. Let's zoom out and make sure we're setting this at the right place here. And you see that little white thing right here? This is just saying I want to copy you somewhere along this line, and I want it to be 60. So let's zoom out here. Sorry. Bear with me. Sorry, this is a little bit slow. Okay, so did everybody see what I just did there? So by just sort of hovering along that line as I drag that out, I set this exactly 60 millimeters away from the other one. So to check it, let's go over this endpoint here and just kind of look and make sure we're at the right area. Okay, cool. It says 60. 0 doesn't have any angles on it, so that's good to go. I also want to copy this line because I want to create another reference line that is going to be 30 millimeters away from the point that I just selected here. So hit enter, select the base point where you want to actually copy it from, and that's going to be the center. I want to do midpoint. I want to make sure it's right at the end of that. Perfect. Come over here and let's do offset at 30, and again you want that cursor right along that line so it's not going to offset anything. Enter. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and copy again because we want to do another reference line that's going to be 20 millimeters from the one that I have selected here. Base point, intersection. Cool. Drag it over, make sure that there's no angle on it. Cool. Now let's go ahead and check these things. How far am I? How far off am I? Endpoint. Cool, 20. Okay, with 0 degrees on it. So nothing got funny. So 50. Perfect. Create new circles here. We want to create circle here, and let's really move in and make sure that we're in the intersection here. We want the X. Okay, come on out. We want to make this 8. Let's go ahead and make another one. And this one needs to be 24. Oh, I'm sorry, 12. 12. Radius of 12. Perfect. Also want to copy this line. Where do you want to copy it from? I want to copy it from this little insertion point here, or intersection point. I don't know why I keep saying insertion point. How far off do you want it? Let's go ahead and do let's do 12. I'm sorry, 6. We want it off by 6. Same thing. Copy this bad boy. Enter. Specify where you want it to be offset from. Just hover over that intersection. It snaps to the intersection. Come down here. Offset it by 6. And I don't want any angles on there, so very good, very good. Clean, nice and clean, beautiful. Alright, so we have our reference lines here. So let's go ahead and start banging this out and make sure we have everything good to go. So hover over, intersection point, good. Intersection, and you want, and it's showing up the tangent, but that's the same thing as the intersection, so don't be concerned by that. Now again, just for speed and just the way that I think, I differ a little bit, or a lot of it, from the tutorial that's written, and to me it makes a whole lot more sense to do it this way. You know, just because it's just, you know, I don't like to specify. It's easier for me to, you know, I don't know, just you know, do it this way or whatever. I don't know. I don't have a good reason. Just so, you know, my entire point again is just get it so it looks like the thing you're supposed to draw. It doesn't matter exactly how you get to that point. Just make sure you get there. That's what we care about. And we want to add a fillet here. And this is important. Go hit the down arrow, and we want to specify the radius. Okay. The radius is going to be 10. So enter 10. There we go. See how we created that fillet there between this thing, between this line, and that circle there. That's what we want. Again, let's do the bottom one too. Fillet. Oh, I'm sorry, we forgot to specify the radius, which is 10. Hit enter. Over here. The little white thing is it's nice because it gives you a little bit preview of what you're going to get. And we want to do intersection point. Come over here. Make sure it's 0 or it's 180. It's just flat. The line here. That's the only problem with the object snap. If you have too many selected, it's going to key off on too many things, and you run the risk of causing problems for yourself. What do we want? We want radius of 10 again. Select that. Select this. Perfect. Cool. Sorry for that little pause. I just want to make sure that everything's lined up here. So let's go ahead and tie this in here. Hover over till you hit the good old X, that red X there. And it says tangent, that's okay. Same thing as the insertion. Green X. Alright, so let's go ahead and trim off the stuff that we don't care about anymore, okay? So hit trim. And what do we want to keep? We want to keep this. We also want to keep this. So hit enter. We don't want this. Oh, I'm sorry. Keep this. Keep this. Enter. That. There we go. Keep this, 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 this. Enter. Don't want this. 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 Don't want that. Don't want that. You don't want that. Don't want that. Don't want that. Boom. Oh shoot. Perfect. Very good, very good. Enter. Bam. What else do we need to do here? Just looking at it. Okay, we need to clean up this. So hit this, enter, and we want to kill that guy there. And snip that off there. Ooh, and also trim. Enter. Kill that. Kill that. Enter. Very good, very good, very good. Now let's go ahead and specify that these are actually going to be, you know, the lines, you know, they're not actually part of the drawing. These are actually just reference lines. So let's go ahead and specify that. Oops, sorry. Alright, sorry about that. I deleted this one, that line right there, just because I want to lengthen this guy out and just make one line, because there's actually two there, so sorry if that confused anybody. Just make sure that this doesn't have any angles to it. Perfect. And again, so the ones here that I'm highlighting are just reference lines, so I'm going to change and specify, I'm going to, you know, I'll change them to phantom or whatever. Sorry, for whatever reason, it's like the select is a little off. Phantom. And just change the color. We'll do center, actually. Change the center. Cool. Very good. Oh, you know, I think there's multiple ones. Yeah, you see how this line doesn't look the same as this one? That's because there's multiple lines there. So same goes for this bad boy here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just clean up the reference lines. It doesn't really matter. You guys can just stop it right now. You know that's perfectly fine. But you know, me I want it nice and tidy, so I'm going to just clip off at, like, you know, a reasonable point here. So right now I'm just looking at, that's 80. So this is just going to make sure that my reference lines are all nice and pretty. So all I'm doing again is just trimming up the reference lines, making sure that they're, you know, pretty close to being the same length. Just make it, you don't have to do this. You can just, you know, end it. Could have ended it, you know, 5 minutes ago, but, you know, I just kind of wanted to make it look nice and tidy. And then go ahead and get rid of that box. Cool. Alright, and then just add your, you know, everything, and you are done.